we know someone in common who was that you've been working with, that I know very well, who's a collegiate athlete. I mean, you look at this woman, you think she can't possibly have a weakness,
super fit and
right, in her
strong.
So, like, tell us just a little bit about her story.
It is deceiving because you look at women like this woman we're talking about, and she is strong and she is fit, and you think, well, she can't possibly have a pelvic issue.
One of her favorite things to say is, "I'm keeping it tight."
Yeah, and when we say college, I mean, she runs 8 to 10 miles a day. I mean, she is in fantastic shape, and I guess there's kind of a stigma around this too. You think pelvic floor issues must happen to people who are old, or people who are overweight, or they're immediately postpartum. But this woman is a perfect example that it happens to anyone. And again, her body is a perfect one that got really comfortable in that one groove, that one plane of motion. And
then she had 3 kids.
Yeah, exactly. Then you tie on all the layers of, childbearing and the stress to the pelvic floor and the trauma of delivery, and not necessarily doing what she needed for herself other than running to get her pelvis and pelvic floor back in shape.
And so, kind of Olympic lifting kind of stuff. Yeah. So, I mean, this is an example of someone who is moving. Yeah. But they're moving in the same track.
Exactly. All day long.
Yeah.
And so when we had to try to get her going in other directions, I mean, she couldn't believe how difficult it was. Yeah. So a lot of my program starts really simple, even if you are super fit or you're not super fit. It has to be the same basics and the same foundation, because most women are just not moving in a lot of those different directions. They're very one-dimensional.
From an athlete to an older woman to a new mom, there are these foundational movement patterns that we can get back to.
Absolutely.
Right? And then build from there.
Absolutely. And the key is to know that there's not an age where it becomes okay. I've had so many women are like, well, I'm older, oh, I'm menopausal, or oh, I'm in my 70s.
So it's just normal.
They just think that and there is a correlation on research that as you age, the risk of pelvic floor issues does increase. But that doesn't mean that it's okay. And that doesn't mean just because it can happen doesn't mean it has to happen. And that there's not an age where I'm like, oh yeah, you're right, you're too old, you should be peeing your pants. There's never an age where it's okay to pee your pants. There's never an age, truthfully, where it's not okay to have sex. I mean, I love when I evaluate women who are in their late 70s or their 80s and they tell me they're still having sex. I'm like, great, it's wonderful for your pelvic floor. I mean, there's not an age where it becomes okay, but I think as a society and the myths and the stigmas, I think we've just accepted a lot of that as normal.
So let's talk about that sex part a little bit. And I know that you hear incredibly heartbreaking stories.
Absolutely.
Pain with sex that they don't even want to tell their partners about.
Right.
And tell us a little bit about that and how can that be helped?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably one of those heartbreaking things. I've seen women who have come to me prior to honeymoons wanting to be able to have sex on their honeymoon because they just can't. The pain is so bad. I've seen women who will only have sex in the dark because they don't want to tell their partners and they don't want them to see the pain in their faces when they try to have sex with them. And
so sad.
Yeah, they want to feel like they're still doing their part in the relationship, but they are too embarrassed to say anything and they don't want their partner to feel bad, so they keep it dark, then they can't see the pain. I mean, I've seen women whose relationships have started falling apart because of the intimacy issue. I mean, it's a big piece of any relationship, and to not be able to have that or be able to communicate it to your partner is huge. I had one woman who said, I thought it was my lot in life to just that I couldn't have sex anymore. So my husband and I just tried to find other ways. And this woman was 45. I mean, she wasn't, what you would kind of, stigmatize as like, oh, she's older or she's menopausal. I mean, she was 45 and she just had been having, it was funny because she would tell me that she's like, oh, it's been a couple of years since we've had sex. And then her husband came in to learn some things that he could do to help her with this. And she was kind of telling me their story and, with him there, he said it's been like 8 to 10 years. So he was counting. Oh. And again, they had found other ways and luckily their relationship was still strong. But when they were able to then have sex again, she was like, you restored a part of our relationship that we thought was lost. And it's just rejuvenated so many parts of, us and who we are as a couple. And so it's heartbreaking and it's real and it's intimate, but there's things you can do. It's all the same reason. It's just how your body manifests those changes in the mechanics, how your muscles are tight and what symptoms you get. Sometimes the tight muscles lead to incontinence, sometimes to pain, but the concepts are still the same. You still have to be able to move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what have you, I mean, you're only one person. and you do this all day long. I know you've, because we've been working together on this for a while, so tell our people here a little bit about what you've come up with to get this out there, because you really are only one person. You have a family.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how are we using, tell us a little bit about the technology that we're using and what's coming.
Yeah. So because of my frustrations, I just felt like, wouldn't it be great if I could start to get to these women sooner, before they were suffering for years, or having to see 6 or 7 practitioners, or suffer silently until a friend happened to tell them about PT. And so I developed a preventative class that I initially taught live, and then the success was huge. And it was meant to be preventative, but then people signed up who had some incontinence issues and pain issues already, and then they were seeing improvements in the exercises and through the education. So
we just looked at some of those numbers. So this was meant to be a preventative class.
One and done. Meant to take it 6 weeks, be done with it, have the exercises, and
And they say 1 in 3 women are having these issues, but based on some of those class numbers, what do you think it really is?
High. So what I found, just kind of roughly looking at numbers, was 64% of the women that took my classes were suffering from some sort of pelvic floor discomfort or incontinence.
So that's more like
problem.
two out of 3.
Yeah. Pretty high. Pretty high statistically.
And I would say, just as a woman and talking about this with people, and I work with clients all the time, I think it's higher than 1 in 3.
Yeah,
and 1 in 3 isn't good.
Yeah, exactly. 1 in 3 is as high as it is, but I think it's truthfully probably a lot higher. I just think it doesn't get, women don't put it on their healthcare forms or tell their doctors, and so I think it doesn't get statistically kind of factored in.
So you did a live class, but that still means there's still only one of you.
Absolutely.
Right?
And there's still only so many nights a week, and I started having people in other ends of the county wanting me to go down to their end of the county to run classes. And again, with my own kids, being away from them more in the evenings was hard to do. So we started brainstorming, how could we put this online? How could we, design the same program but into an online format? And
that's how my core floor was born.
Yes.
Right?
So we took all the education format from the live class and we put it into small videos. So everything is 5 minutes or less, knowing that everyone's busy and no one has a lot of time to sit down and watch an extensive video. We thought,
I know if I see something that's 20 or 30 minutes long, I'm like,
and I might mark it and be like, maybe later I'll go back, but truthfully I never do. So 5 minutes seemed like a realistic amount of time. If I was sitting waiting for my kids at pickup, I could kind of flip on a video, and 5 minutes is realistic. I'm in the bathroom or getting ready in the morning, 5 minutes is, again, a decent amount of time that you can. And so what we did is we took all the content from the class and we put it into these short 5-minute videos based on different topics. So pregnancy, postpartum, menopause, incontinence, pelvic pain, diet related to pelvic floor issues.
Posture, there's a great one on posture.
Yeah, so we took all that content, put it into these educational series, and then
Today's topic, Kegel exercises. So, what is a Kegel exercise? We have all been told to do them by our OBGYN, read about them in parenting magazines, heard about them on talk shows, heard about them from our friends or midwives, but what exactly is a Kegel exercise? All that a Kegel is an isolated contraction of your core floor muscles. As a physical therapist, while I think they can have a benefit, and there is a time and a place for them, I hardly believe they are the end-all be-all for improving core floor strength, improving urinary incontinence, or improving pelvic pain symptoms. I have numerous clients that come in frustrated because they tell me that they have been relentlessly working on their Kegels with no improvement in symptoms, and they don't understand why. They have been doing exactly what the doctor has told them, or what they have read about, but nothing is getting better. So I try to explain it like this. Think about it. If you want to train for a running race, you wouldn't only train one group of muscles. You would need to have a strong heart, good endurance, strong calf muscles, strong thigh muscles, and a strong core. All of those muscles and systems would need to be working well together to make you an efficient runner on race day. The core floor is the same way. It doesn't only work by itself. You can't work on training just one group of muscles in hopes that those muscles will then know how to work with the rest of the body during all the activities, whether it's trying to get to the bathroom, jumping, laughing, running with your kids, or whether it's during intercourse. those muscles need to be trained with the rest of the body, so when the time comes, they can work with the body as a whole, making you successful and efficient in whatever it is you're striving to do.
Series, and then we took all the exercises from the class and we put them into a workout program. And so, like the exercise videos, we tried to make the workout videos to be workable into your life. So there's 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes. So you can make it your workout for the day, or you can do a quick 10-minute, 20-minute hitter that you kind of add into whatever other exercise workout program you're doing.
Because I've used this, so I might use a 10-minute warm-up. I might use that as a warm-up.
And then go into your lifting or your running or whatever it is you're going to do.
Or I might only have 10 minutes that day.
Correct. And you can still get a quick hitter, and that's still beneficial. So then we also, in addition to the exercises and the education, have started to work on creating a community that women can start talking to one another about what problems they're having, know they're not alone. I can answer questions, and it's just a great way for me to be able to reach out to a number of women across, hopefully across the country as it gets going.
And then